Hi, everybody. How are you all doing tonight? Say hello if you're hopping on. Welcome, welcome, welcome to Therapeutic Wisdom from the AKASH here on Awoken TV. If you have not been to Awoken TV before, definitely check them out at www.awoken.tv. You're going to find other shows like this. You're going to find conscious filmmakers, light workers, courses, everything that you could really anticipate that you would need on the spiritual and metaphysical journey, right? So it's like a spiritual and metaphysical Netflix. It's a beautiful space where you're going to find a lot of information, really, on the whole spectrum of the spiritual awakening process, of the healing process. So I definitely encourage you to check out the other shows. You can also find Awoken TV on the App Store. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Laura Mazzotta. I go live here every Sunday night at 7 p.m. Eastern. And I am an Akashic healer and teacher. And I teach people, I teach spiritual entrepreneurs how to expand their intuition at the same time that they are learning how to expand their business in a spiritually aligned, soul aligned way that's really unique to their energy, really unique to their soul's purpose. So I've also been a therapist for almost 20 years, hence therapeutic wisdom from the Akash. Merging these two is an absolute powerhouse. Hi, Christy. Hi, Lisa. How are you guys doing? I'm glad you could jump on, Christy. Daisy's going to share out to a bunch of groups because you don't have that list yet. So we will chat about that tomorrow, but you can share it out elsewhere if you'd like. Um, anyway, I'm so happy to be here with you guys. I hope you had a wonderful weekend. How is everybody doing? How have you been feeling with this new moon energy? This has been a very powerful new moon in Pisces. It's a really beautiful opportunity to set our intentions for this moon cycle. So you can share your intentions below or just say happy new moon. But just checking in to see how you guys are feeling because I know that this was an emotional one. We had the sun in Pisces and the moon in Pisces. So lots of water sign, lots of emotionality in addition to enhanced intuition. So anyway, let me know how you guys are doing. Hi, Monica. Hi, Jennifer. So good to see you guys. All right, so tonight we're going to talk about sensuality, not to be confused with sexuality, which they are related, and you're going to learn a little bit about that tonight. But sexuality is actually what I'm going to be talking about on Clubhouse tomorrow night. Yeah, this was a very crazy moon, Jennifer. Very, very crazy moon. The last couple moon cycles have been pretty intense. So, yeah, but we get to use this energy to our advantage for our healing and expansion. So that's exciting. So, yeah, I'm going to be talking about sexuality tomorrow night on Clubhouse at 5:30 p.m. Eastern. I have a club there called Bold Talk with Emily Harrison from the Akashic Academy. And we've already talked about money shame. Then we talked about money shame again. And we brought in some really big names to really give some very valuable advice and really challenges, like thought-provoking ways to shift outside of the structured paradigm that we're used to when we're talking about money, right? When we're talking about the energy of money. So we talked about that already. And tomorrow night, we're going to be talking about returning to sacred sexuality. So this is kind of step one. This is going to give you a little bit of prep work to enter into that sexuality discussion tomorrow night. And if you guys are not on Clubhouse, let me know. It's only for iPhones so far. They're still in beta version. So I do have about 4 or 5 invites left, I believe. So if you guys need an invite to Clubhouse, just PM me your phone number and then I can invite you. Okay? All right, so let's move on to sensuality. Does anybody know the difference between sensuality and sexuality? So, sensuality is really what it sounds like, it's the gratification of the senses. And our souls choose to come here to experience that gratification of the senses, to experience the fact that, when we're light beings, we can't necessarily touch things, we can't necessarily hear things, right? Those senses are very human in nature. And it's a beautiful time to talk about sensuality because we're almost to the spring solstice, which is happening this upcoming weekend. I believe it's on Saturday. And keep your eyes peeled because I know Awoken has an event going on for the spring solstice as well. So that's definitely something to keep your eye on because there's really, really powerful content. And it's also just so empowering to be in a group collaborative setting to be able to do this work, right? Especially when we have very strong universal energy. Every week in my private Facebook group, Room for Healing, we do something called Akashic Healings. And it's really enhanced the collaboration of the community and the connection of the community because everybody kind of comes together to share in the energy of healing and expansion. It just multiplies, right? So, getting back to sensuality, we obviously navigate the world through our five senses. And here on the spiritual path, we're talking about expanding that into our clair senses, which are our intuitive senses. And I did a previous video on that. You can find it on my YouTube channel. You can also find it here on the thread at Awoken TV. Okay, but so we're not talking about the clair senses right now. Right now, we're talking about the five senses that we know as human beings that are tangible. So anytime that you gratify your senses, there's a couple things that happen. What's so beautiful about this sensual energy is that when we tune into our five senses, we ground ourselves very beautifully. So I always tell my clients, the more senses that you can put into one experience, the more grounded you will feel, the more grounded you will be. So an example of this is I might want to cuddle under my blanket, sip some tea, have a candle that's lit so I can smell it, I can see it, I can feel the warmth, put on some nice music, right? So you're getting all of those sensations in one experience. A lot of people do it in the shower where they'll go into the shower, they'll put on some music, they'll use a scented wash or shampoo that makes them feel really good. And you can even put a mint in your mouth before you go into the shower, just trying to incorporate intentionally all the senses at the same time. So when you do that, you feel really grounded, right? And if at the same time that we incorporate all five of these senses, we decide to go into meditation or we decide to enter into the Akashic records, then what we're doing is we're accessing that Kundalini energy, right? Which is a sexual energy. It's also a sensual energy. But Kundalini rising is a phrase that you guys have probably heard of, which is you take that energy that's at the base of your spine, that root and sacral space that's full of groundedness, but also passion. Also, that's the area where we feel a really strong, intimate sense of belonging, creativity, and momentum. Okay. So the more that we get in touch with our senses and ground ourselves into this energy at the base of our spine, and we allow ourselves to really feel into it, that energy starts to rise, right? And it gives us the opportunity to combine this grounded feeling of being connected to our senses with spirituality, with expanding our intuition, with expanding our energy field and heightening our vibration. So does that make sense? Let me know if that doesn't make sense. And I'm also just going to check in here to make sure that things aren't wonky on my end, because I just noticed a couple little laggies and I want to make sure. So guys, just let me know if you've been able to see me and hear me or if there's any hiccups here. Okay, cool. I'm just going to keep my phone open to make sure that I keep an eye on the tech. Okay. So that's one way, right? That's one way to look at this sensual energy. What if one sense is missing? Thank you, Amber. You just jumped right to my next topic, my friend. Look at you. Look at that predictive intuitive ability. Celebrating you, my friend. Okay. So that's one way to work with sensual energy, right? Is to incorporate all five of your senses, as many as you can. It doesn't have to be all five. Incorporate as many as you can. And then at the same time, you enter into some kind of spiritual practice. Okay. So that's a really beautiful way to cultivate this energy and to really harmonize the masculine and feminine and the spiritual and the physical. Okay. So the next part is you can focus on enhancing your sensation in one area. Okay. So if I really want to cultivate my sensual energy, even if you think I want to cultivate my sexual energy, and not in a way that it's like, oh, I want to go have sex all the time, but in a way where, oh, I'm cultivating my sexual energy because I know that sexual energy is very fertile energy. It's creative energy, it's creation energy. There's so much momentum that exists in sexual energy. And a beautiful way to get there or to start yourself on that path is to work with sensual energy because a lot of people shy away from working with sexual energy, but you can start with sensuality. Okay, and there's so many different ways to do this. One I just told you about. The other one is to focus on one sense at a time. Okay, so what you can do is say, all right, I really want to focus on scent. So then what you're going to do is you're going to close your eyes, you're going to plug your ears, you're going to kind of dim your other senses as much as you can so that you can really focus on what you are smelling at the time. So you can sit there and just literally smell the air around you. Try to notice the different notes that are in the air. Try not to focus on the sensation of the air that's moving out of in and out of your nose because that's a different sense, right? So what it requires is very, very focused practice, very focused intention. Okay, which is good because you're giving yourself a gift by taking that time to devote to yourself and to enhance your human experience. But you can then play with it. So you can put your finger up to your nose. You can hold something else up to your nose, like something that you're drinking or something that you're eating. But it's getting as descriptive as you can, focusing on enhancing one sense and trying to lengthen the amount of time that you are focusing on that sense. So you might only be able to focus on enhancing your sense of smell for 30 seconds. And then you're like, oh my gosh, this is giving me a headache. I can't do this anymore. Fine, great. Next time, shoot for 35 seconds. Next time, shoot for 50 seconds or whatever. Okay. And you start to cultivate your senses individually. All right. And if one sense is missing, then yes, another one typically is enhanced. You can bring them into harmony though. It's not like you're stuck with that. It's not like if one sense is missing um or it's weaker that, you're doomed. And all of a sudden now everything else is going to be enhanced and you don't have a choice. You get to harmonize it. We have the ability to harmonize everything because everything is energy, right? But I would also get really curious about the sense that is missing. You have no sense of smell. I actually lost my sense of smell for the most part when I had COVID a year ago. I have a little bit. Yeah, it throws your taste off. Me too. My taste is still a little off. I can taste, like it's come back some, but it's very off. Like I'll taste something, like I'll put like a piece of chocolate in my mouth or something and it'll taste like flowers. It's very bizarre. So anyway, yeah, exactly, because of COVID. So anyway, special times. But okay, so that's another way is to focus on your individual senses and start to just really feel into them. Feel into and feel appreciation for the fact that you have these senses and that you get to explore your world in this way. Okay? So that's one beautiful way to practice as well. Okay, so those are two strategies. Does anybody have any other ones that they've practiced with in terms of like maximizing sensation? Because another one is touch, and this one's really important. Oh, you read an article on it? Oh, Jennifer, send me the link. I love reading stuff like that. You're so on top of things, my friend. So this is one of the ones I like the most. And it's enhancing your sense of touch, really, but it's enhancing your sense of touch with yourself. And so this is definitely that bridge, right? Between the sensual energy that we started talking about and transitioning over to working with the sexual energy, but it's still sensual, okay? So one of the best practices that I do every single day without fail is when I wake up in the morning and before I go to bed. Thank you, Jennifer. Yeah, post it in Room for Healing. That would be awesome. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I put one hand on my heart and one hand on my belly, but not outside my shirt. I put them underneath so I'm touching my skin. I will go right in there. And I do this before I go to bed at night and I lay there for a while and I repeat my affirmations or my mantras, or especially if there's moon energy, I'll sometimes go into reclined goddess pose where my feet are together and my knees are out like this. The last time I practiced doing this on this chair with actually putting my feet together, I almost fell over. So I'm just doing it with my hands. Happy Sunday. I don't want to start the week with a concussion. So thanks for understanding. Anyway, so I'll go into goddess pose just because I really want to be in that space of receiving. Okay. I really want to receive that moon energy at the same time that I am really feeling into the appreciation of my physical body. That when I'm feeling my physical body and touching my skin, think about it. When infants are born, one of the number one things that the doctors and nurses say over and over and over and over again is skin to skin contact. that it's so important for babies' development to have skin to skin contact, particularly with their mother. And this can be a problem when, like, for instance, my son was whisked off to the NICU right away, right? And my other two weren't. Well, actually, my second one I didn't really, or my first child, sorry, I didn't really get to snuggle with right away either because I had a C-section, so they whisked her away. My third, I was able to. But it can't always happen that way. And I'm not saying that there's, like, significant attachment issues or anything, because this occurs with adoption and stories and other stories that have unfolded, birth stories that have unfolded, right? But either way, it's important to know how that physical touch is so imperative for our feelings of safety and comfort and groundedness in the world, okay? So I love using the touching of the skin to enhance our sensuality. Okay. So one of the ways you can do this is just by washing your face, like washing your face in the morning or at night. And again, being intentional and very focused on how soothing and wonderful it feels to be able to touch your skin, right? To be able to really fully immerse yourself in experiencing the sensation. Okay. So let me know how you guys feel about that. I know that I felt a little shy about it at first, but it feels so intimate. It's literally like you're giving yourself a hug, right? It feels so intimate. And as you enhance this intimacy with yourself, with your physical body, and with your own senses, and you get very accustomed to being in touch with, well, I guess getting really nuanced about being able to pick up scents, being able to pick up sounds much more quickly and, like, more specifically, really, because 'cause you're more tuned into them, then you know your sensual energy is expanding, right? This is gonna help your intuition. It's also really going to help you with that integration of being grounded and being a spiritual being. And what it does, it helps you become more comfortable and appreciative and in love with your human and your physical body and the fact that you have this human experience. And when you get to that point, then your energy field is going to be more open to receive sexual energy and to cultivate sexual energy. And the last thing that I'll leave you with here too is an energetic component here. Okay. So the energetic component is, hold on, I just lost it. Take a deep breath for me, friends. Help me center all of us together. See, it came back. All you need to do is close your eyes and breathe. And the AKASH brings it in again. So, when you want to experience sensuality more, when you want to enhance this, especially when you're bridging over to sexuality, because again, they're kind of on a spectrum, these two energies, sensuality feels more safe. And it's less, I don't want to say powerful because it's still very powerful, but I guess packs a little bit less of a punch, right? It's a little more gentle, I guess you could say. But it's the energetic piece is receiving. Okay. I talked to you guys about how, especially if there's moon energy or cosmic energy around, that I really want to receive, putting myself into reclined goddess pose and allowing myself to receive that at the same time that I'm experiencing and focusing on this physical touch in my body and really getting in touch with that sensation, right? But receiving energy in any form is going to assist you with developing sensuality and sexual energy. And this can be practicing. I remember when I first started practicing this, and it was just practicing receiving people doing things for me, like offering to do things for me, and I felt like I would feel bad sometimes. A lot of us do, right? Or we feel like I can do it myself, right? But just practice being graciously receptive of whatever's coming into your field that you'd like to welcome in. Okay, so that's like the energetic piece that's really going to help tune you to this sensual frequency. So, does anybody have any questions about this? And let me know if you guys are in Clubhouse because I would love for you to join me tomorrow night when we're talking about returning to sacred sexuality. Because what we're going to be talking about there is really the collective issue of sexual shame and rules around sex, expectations around sex, definitions of sex, right? There's so many stories, societally and collectively, that have interfered with our personal, intimate experience with our sexual energy. And that's why a lot of us, it feels safer to start with sensual energy because sexual energy can feel really daunting. It's a very big energy. One thing that you can know is anytime you're working with energy, particularly in the space of the Akashic records, you're never going to receive anything that you're not ready to integrate at the time. So it's not like they're going to bowl you over with all of the sexual energy. You're going to be like, I don't know how to handle this. It's not going to work that way. You may feel like you don't know how to handle things sometimes, but then all you have to do is just tune in and ask and say, okay, thank you for entrusting me with this level of energy. How can I work with it differently? How can I cultivate it? How can I channel it? Right? We don't shy away from these practices. Get curious about them. Get curious about how they can serve you, about how they can expand things for you. Okay? All right, so we're just going to do one quick exercise here before we close up. So I want everybody to close your eyes and just take a deep breath in. And I just want you to close your mouth. And I want you to see if you can taste anything in your mouth. It could be something that you ate earlier. So Amber and I are going to be a little off because we have a little bit of a taste and smell issue here. But try to kind of move around your mouth. You can move your tongue around. You can see if you can generate more saliva. See if anything shifts in your sense of taste. And then what I want you to do is just keep your eyes closed and just part your lips a little bit, like open your mouth just a little bit. And as the air is kind of like caressing your tongue and touching the inside of your cheeks, I want you to identify anything, any kind of taste or scent that's coming forward for you as you have your mouth open just a little bit. We're really fine tuning and honing our awareness here and enhancing our intimacy with ourselves. So you can open your eyes. Let me know if you guys tasted anything. Let me know if anything was obvious in your field. And it could be as simple as, listen, I just ate a cookie and I taste it. Great. You actually paid attention though. Excuse me. You paid attention. And again, you put focused awareness on this sense. And if that's all you notice at first is, yeah, well, I ate a cookie, Laura, so that's why I tasted something. Well, great. So the next time I want you to try to sit with it a little bit longer and try to get past just that egoic observation of, well, yeah, I'm connecting this to something that I did previously, rather than just being able to describe it instead of as a cookie as, oh, this tastes sweet and it tastes warm and it tastes chocolatey and whatever it is you want to use to describe it. It's important for you to make it an intentional practice, whatever sense you're focusing on. Okay. So Amber says, oh, spaghetti. You have any sauce on that spaghetti? Hi, Katrina. Or did you not eat spaghetti and it still tastes like spaghetti? See, this is what's so cool because then what you're doing is you're actually using your sensual human experience to inform you of the messages that are coming from the Akash or from your intuition or from the universe, right? So, like Amber says, I don't want any of it. I must have a huge block in that area. Exactly. And that's something I started to explore some in the Akash around this smell and taste that I've lost since COVID. And I got a little bit from the Akash, but most of what I got was like it's going to unfold over time. Like you're going to learn over time because it's pretty significant shift just in my physical and energetic makeup, right? That it's been a year and I still haven't gotten these back in their entirety. And maybe at 50%, maybe a little bit more than that, you know? And so it's getting curious about what are these symptoms coming up for? What does smell indicate? What does it symbolize in the Akashic records or for my soul's path? What does this taste symbolize? What does spaghetti symbolize for Jamie? Unless she's having it for dinner and she just had it. Who knows? Right? Oh, Jennifer. See what sensuality does for us? Thank you so much for bringing that forward. Because, yes, Because think about that. You tune into that sensation, like you could literally have an orgasm tuning into a homemade wafer cone from Paris. I could. I mean, seriously, like think about that because it calls forward an entire scene for you, an entire experience, an entire vibration that feels so fun and exciting and amazing and magical and special, right? So as we continue to tune into these things, we get cues, we get intelligence about what we're being called toward. So for you, it would be cool, Jennifer, to even go in and just be like, oh, like say, so what is this scene coming up for right now? You know, what is this bringing forward for me now that I need to know in order to feel more sensual, in order to feel more receptive, more open, more free? Because there's a lot of freedom that comes with sensual and sexual energy, a lot of flexibility, a lot of flow, but also a lot of drive and momentum. And so when you start to cultivate this energy, I'm telling you, you can feel like an absolute powerhouse because you connect to it and it's your driver. It just takes you. And it, again, it doesn't take you outside of too far outside of your comfort zone where you're not going to be comfortable enough to handle it because they're not going to give you anything you're not ready to integrate. Does that make sense? So it's just fascinating. I've been working with this energy for a few years now, maybe 2.5 years, can't remember, when I was like diving into the sexual energy piece because I knew I kept getting that message that I needed to cultivate and understand. And I have a history of sexual trauma, so of course that was there for me as well. And there were cognitive pieces, of course, but there were a lot of energetic cords there that needed to be released. And when you have any history of sexual trauma, it's really important to do these practices, especially this one, where you're touching your skin. You're getting to the point where, and it took me time to build up to that, where I'm touching my skin, my bare skin under my shirt, and just feeling really, really comfortable with connecting with my own intimate, sensual self. It's a beautiful way of making yourself feel safe, taking your power back, taking your control back. Yes, Amber, I hear you. I used to too. Anything sensual or sexual, I used to shut down. But one of the things that I would encourage you to do is identify which sense for you are you the most comfortable cultivating? It could be sight. Do you love looking at pretty colors or pretty crystals, right? So you can I'm going to play with one now just to satisfy your sense here of visual sense. Thank you, Daisy Farrell at Inner K Alchemy for this magical stone. But yeah, so you could choose that and you could meditate on sacred geometry, which is a beautiful way of combining our physical sense of sight with the energetic grid that exists within each of us, that is, of course, connected to higher levels of consciousness, higher dimensions of consciousness. So you're doing that work all at the same time. You're doing the integrative human work at the same time that you're doing the spiritual work. So doing something like gazing into a sacred geometric image, gazing into a picture of a beach that you go to that you love, or a sunset that you loved looking at one time, and just gazing at it, allowing yourself to get lost in it and feeling the vibe of it. So you can choose which sense you can start with based on what you feel comfortable. Okay. All right, friends. So join me on Clubhouse tomorrow night, 5:30 Eastern. I will be there in Bold Talk. You can join our club, hang out with us. We talk about the bold shit over there in Clubhouse. And yeah, I'd love it. It's just a nice open conversation tomorrow night about returning to sacred sexuality. So I'd love to have you. The Brilliance Mastermind remains open. There's only a couple weeks left, and this container is almost entirely full. Technically, it is full, but I also know, excuse me, I'm having trouble with my throat chakra this evening. um, so yeah, so the Brilliance Mastermind is still open, and technically it's full, but I want to welcome more souls into this space. So that's why I've hired my team to be able to assist me as well, so that more people can have access to this kind of knowledge. This is, of course, for spiritual entrepreneurs who are ready to scale their business to multiple six figures and just slay it, man. Ditch the excuses, slay the business, and do it in a really heart centered, loving way. Clubhouse is an audio only social media app. and it's currently only available for iPhones because they're currently beta testing it, and it's invite only. So basically, you sign up for the free app on Clubhouse. It's like a little black and white head. I'll show it to you. So I don't know if you can see it right there. It's that little guy right there. Yes, I still have nail polish on my hand because my daughter painted my nails earlier. But it's that little guy right there in the black and white head. It's got to be you. I don't know, because I didn't have this issue before I came live. It's got to be one of you, because I keep choking on myself over here. Thank you, Jennifer. I'm clearing it for you, my friend. I'm clearing it for you. I love you. Okay. So you join Clubhouse, you get a username, and then basically you need an invite. So, okay, Katrina, thank you, my friend. I'm going to send you guys some Reiki right now to your throat space. So just really breathe into that and allow that to just break up a little bit. This energy is so gentle and it's going to go where it needs to go. Take deep breaths in. Really feel that air moving in and out of your throat space. Almost imagining like you have a balloon there in your throat area. And as you breathe, you're just expanding this balloon further and further. Not worrying that it's going to pop, because it's not going to. What it'll do is it'll just kind of dissolve, right? It'll just dissolve into energy that will then distribute where it is meant to be distributed. And honestly, I would encourage you to chant to clear that throat chakra as well. I'm doing it for you, my friends. You can do it too, though. I highly recommend that you do if you've got Jennifer and Katrina. Hum away. H-A-M. Not ham. Although if you want to go eat ham, fine, but it's hum. Chanting's a really beautiful way to break up the throat space. I mean, it's one of my favorite tools, my favorite spiritual tools in general, but okay. So you only have Android, Amber, I get it. And I know that they're planning on rolling it out to Android at some point soon. So hopefully I will cross my fingers for you. But yeah, so then what you would do is once you get your username, you send me a PM with your phone number, because you have to be in my contact list for them to like pick you up to invite you. So basically, once I go on there, you'll then pop up and I can hit invite, and then you can come join us on Clubhouse. Okay. So hopefully I'll see some of you guys tomorrow night. If you guys have any questions about the Brilliance Mastermind, I'm going to drop a link here in the comments. You can read all about it. If you're a spiritual entrepreneur, I highly encourage you to read over it. Just read it. See if it resonates. Because as light workers, so many of us hide. So many of us are afraid to use our voice and to get bold about what it is we're here to do. And it's really important that if you're feeling called at all to get curious, if you're feeling curious at all, to listen to that tug, whether you do it or not, right? Because the universe needs to know that you are following your intention. You are following the energy. And when the energy says to you, hey, I'd love for you to talk about spirituality, or I'd love for you to teach people about this, that, or the other, or this stuff feels really good, why not do something with it? Just start taking little steps forward by saying, all right, I'm just going to read about this, or whatever it happens to be. Okay. And then the universe will start giving back to you tenfold with that energy you're putting out to it. Okay. All right, friends. So have a very, very beautiful week. I hope you have a fabulous, fabulous week, really, before the spring solstice. Breaking up, Katrina. All right, friends. I love you. Thank you for being here. I'll drop that link shortly, and have a fabulous one. Bye.